Welcome back, everybody, to the 950 Club Anime Podcast YouTube channel. After every season, we have our seasonal catch-ups. And within that seasonal catch-up, we have our surprise catch-up, where we surprise each of the hosts with something that we missed earlier on, but we caught up on later. I've been gone for a while, so in this first installment of After Hours in Season 2, I come back with a vengeance. I have a surprise catch-up for Jack, a surprise catch-up for Edwin, and a surprise catch-up for them both. Tune in, listen to us as we catch up on all the things that we missed.
Hi, and welcome back to the 950 Club. I'm Edwin.
I am Jack.
Last time I checked, I was the man on these streets.
Oh, hey, Jamaal is back. And so it's a new season, so we'll be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to have Jamaal on for a few episodes this season. So we're going to be recording them all in a go. So you guys get to enjoy Jamaal way more than before. So Jamaal, I will let you introduce your first surprise catch-up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so first surprise. So here's the way this is going to go. I have two surprise catch-ups for Edwin. I have two surprise catch-ups for Jack. And then I have two joint surprise catch-ups.
All
This
right.
is the ultimate surprise catch-up.
That's right.
So the first surprise catch-up I'll go with would be the one that I gave you insight into, Kill.
Oh, hey.
That was my Jack surprise episode.
Yes.
Okay.
So I watched that. Side note, so Jack has been telling me to watch this for forever.
For a long time, yeah.
So I was going to watch it. And then had somebody at work, Dejanay, hello.
Oh,
Good lady, good friend.
special shout
She
out.
recommended it to me too. And so I was like, okay, she's recommending it. Jack's recommending it. I got to watch this.
You got to do it.
So I usually don't tell the guys what I surprise them with. So,
Yeah.
Literal surprise.
but this one I did give them a little poke into.
Yeah.
So I know you guys already covered this in the episode. I did not re-listen to what you did. I listened to it the first time, but after I watched it, it was long enough after you guys did the episode where I pretty much forgot everything you said.
Yeah.
So
And we didn't really dive
Yes.
into the episodes, or we didn't really list our favorite episodes per se.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
more of the mold of the show.
It was a more general conversation
Yeah.
than we
Because
usually
it's
do.
a show you have to dive into. It's a show that only when you see it you'll know. It's just
well,
how
it's
it is.
it's insane.
It's beyond insane.
Yeah.
it's insane. There were a couple moments that made me uncomfortable to the
Whoa.
point where I just wanted to.
I'm sure.
All right, the one scene where the mom was
Yeah, the villain, the main villain.
yeah, she was because she had the suit
Yeah.
that she was going to give her when she got married or whatever.
Yeah.
And she found it with her on, and then her mom took it off, and then they had this weird it implied some sort of sexual pleasure
Yeah.
from the mom and I was just like, I almost stopped watching the show
No,
right
no.
at that moment.
Perfectly fine. And that was
Well,
intended.
villain's gonna villain. I mean, villains are usually a little.
They don't
bit
need to
more-
incest.
At points, yes.
You can villain, you don't have to incest.
Well, there's the suggestion that's kind of all right. There's
Well, not only that, psychologically though, the mother knows her daughters. The mother knows that.
yeah, there's definitely that psychological
Yeah.
component of
I know I can get underneath your skin. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more of a play like that.
Yeah.
It made it very,
She didn't have to literally get underneath her skin, though.
Fair.
This isn't her daughter. This is more like she's more like a possession or a weapon or like,
And we're not defending
which is a theme that runs throughout the show.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I just...
It made you uncomfortable,
naturally. For me too. Yeah.
I didn't want to see anything after that. And in the entirety of the show, I get like I get the theme of the show. We're looking at like clothing and non-clothing, fashion, fascism,
conformity.
It was very what's the word? Meta.
Yes.
It was very meta.
It works on a lot of different levels.
They had an episode named Trigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like so like
a character too.
I get it. And a character named Trigger. Like I get it. It was cool, and there was a lot that I liked about the show.
Well, what's the main thing you liked?
The battles. It had to be the
battles. The battles were cool.
Yeah.
The battles were cool. All right, who's your favorite character in the show?
I've been torn, very torn. Satsuki at the end of the day.
Satsuki?
Yeah.
I ended up in the same place.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to.
I initially liked Ryuko, yeah.
Yeah, at first it was Ryuko, yeah. At first, but then I don't know. She just won me over. It's like, and I was mad at Jack for this too, because I'm like, damn it, Jack, I don't need another anime crush. I don't. Yeah. It's like, but watching this show, and I was like, she wins you over because,
and she's the only character in the whole show that had her goal in mind.
And anime does this a lot, where you have a villain who you're angry at because they're giving the hero such a hard time,
right?
But then you see that they have a bigger motive.
Exactly.
There's a bigger plot behind the scenes.
It's one of the greatest turns ever. Really. It really is.
Well, I think this show handles it really well.
Yeah.
For being such a campy, silly, insane show, her character kind of stays serious throughout.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was my favorite too. I liked Satsuki from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like Ryuko annoyed the heck out of me.
Well, yeah. And Ryuko is definitely the same camp as Goku, for example.
Yeah, she's definitely, that's where you get the kind of like shonen kind of like protagonist.
That's exactly what I was going to do. You get the shonen trope where the main character is pretty annoying and it's the side characters that are more developed and you enjoy more.
Yeah. They are wrong. They want to be righteous with their wrongs. And by all means, they're going to save the day. But for Ryoko's case, it's more personal. And of course, the death of her father, like you don't get the relationship per se, but you get the passion of why she wants vengeance. And it's more about the vengeance.
Well, yeah, it's more like a 70s revenge plot.
Grindhouse, essentially. But Sasuke, like, having all these pieces connected, having these characters have their roles, and everything else in between. Ironically, you have to conform with the idea of the bigger picture in mind to get the job done at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. And I got that from her very early on.
Yeah. Because
you could tell, like, she was pushing her, but she never let anybody get to the point of, like, putting the girl in serious jeopardy.
Oh.
Yeah.
And with the tone of the show, too, it's cartoony as heck. Like, it can bounce off of walls and be A-okay and, quote unquote A-okay. They can live, even though they're bloodied and hurt. But, she tests Ryoko's limits to the T.
So. She needed to.
Yep.
Because she knew she was going to need her.
Yeah.
She knew she was going to need her. And you could tell that she was testing her. And like by episode, about 4 or 5, that she was already like at Satsuki.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is way too soon for you to be at the big bad. So like I kind of expected like
more.
This to be. I expected more, and I expected Satsuki to end up being someone good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that we can define good as, because it's almost like that teen rebellion against your parents.
Initially, when you watch this too, you're like, Sasuke, oh man, she's the worst. And
you assume she's the villain.
She's conformed.
I didn't think so at all.
You didn't think she was the villain?
I never thought so.
She was the villain of the piece?
I never thought so.
From the first episode?
I never thought she was the villain.
Oh, wow.
And it could...
Is it because she's like the president, technically, maybe?
No, I mean, the student council president, that's a trope that it gets kind of tired.
Yeah, fair.
Like, you get tired of seeing them go up against the student council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was just... It's like Edwin said, she was always very serious. You knew this lady had a plan and a goal. And I just never got villainous intent from her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get that.
I never got it. It was always, she was just always on code. And I was drawn to that. I was drawn to that character, and she held up.
She does.
held
She
up.
does. She holds up throughout the entirety of the show. She has a almost samurai like
Yeah.
quality to her.
Discipline, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like
If you think of discipline, you think of her.
even her mom, who is the adult in the room,
Yeah.
who you think should be more serious, comes across more campy
Yes.
than her daughter.
You know, that's a fascinating thing about her mom. The first time watching it, finding out the plot that Ryuko is also the villain's daughter. She also, she looks like Ryuko.
She does.
At first, I thought she looked like Satsuki, but no. If you look closely, and especially in those flashback episodes, yeah, it's Ryuko. It's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And the father looks like more like Satsuki. So it's like a nice little, it's a show you can rewatch and see little bits and pieces, especially the episodes where you just braze through because it's so high energy and so.
That was a twist I did not expect.
Yeah.
That was a fun twist, but seeing I figured there was going to be some sort of tie between the two.
When they showed the
I
baby,
didn't think sisters.
yeah, when they showed the baby being lifted out, that's Ryuko.
Exactly.
That's Ryuko.
Exactly. Exactly. And so I always like a hero that will make the tough choices, and that's what I got from Satsuki in the beginning.
Compared to Ryuko,
and that's why I never saw her as a villain.
And Ryuko jumps over those obstacles. She just wants the mission in hand. That's the flaw of her. And it's one of those things where you can understand it years later or right off the bat. And it shows the dynamics of a hero, too. It really does.
Well, she was blinded by her desire for revenge.
Yes.
And revenge at all costs. And, she has to be dissuaded of that, or come to the realization that this is part of a bigger, a much bigger, your revenge is just a small thing in this much huger, in this much. I'm making
fanatical.
I'm getting it from Jack.
Yeah, I'm starting to make up words like Jack. Yeah, and the much larger plot of what's actually going on in the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Mako. Were you a fan of Mako?
She was so annoying.
She annoyed me too.
She was so. I mean, yeah.
She had a heart.
She
served. I get where her role was.
She was almost like the balancing factor in the show, and she definitely provides Ryuko with kind of like that. How do I say this? She always recharged her batteries.
Yeah.
Like she was there whenever she was down. Mako was there to lift her back up.
Not only that, but she's also the cartoony side of the show. This is still fun in games.
Her whole family was the cartoony side of the show.
Yeah.
To the extent that they felt like actual cartoons.
Even their flaws.
Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yeah, even their flaws, the pervy dad.
There was no flaws. It was the pervy family. Yeah. And it was just, and I get it. It's played for laughs. And the show, with the clothes and everything, you kind of walk into it. I still could have done without it.
Yeah, fair.
Well, I think they were meant to represent kind of like the
class,
the masses.
Yeah, the class essentially.
Yeah, they were her family. Mako's family was meant to represent
the dad's.
The masses.
The dad's literally a back alley doctor. That's what poor people have to do when they don't want to go to the hospital or shady
when
shit.
they can't afford to go to the
or
hospital.
shady shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's they're there to represent the masses.
Yeah, and the brother as well, a thief. And the mom, just a stay-at-home mom, she's not making any money per se. So yeah, it's a fascinating. That's another thing. Trigger has a viewpoint on life as it is, and pretty much all their shows.
Well, there's definitely class warfare.
Yeah,
going on.
Absolutely, class warfare, and it has a political message at the larger level.
Yeah. But compared to the insane crap that overshadows it.
Well, because it's Trigger. I mean,
they're gonna take it to the extreme, but they do that for a purpose.
Yeah.
You see that they're going to the extreme, but if you look into what they're trying to say, that's really
because it's always for Studio Trigger. It's always this battle between chaos and order.
Yeah,
it always it becomes the ultimate battle. They push things to the ultimate extent to be this is a battle between chaos and order, clothing and no clothing.
Right.
The universe versus the insanity of the yarn monsters.
Yeah.
The yarn aliens
the
versus
Redux.
versus the sanity of humanity and individualism.
Yeah.
Which is good because we do, especially here, have a heavy emphasis on clothes.
Oh.
A very heavy emphasis on clothes,
The status and everything.
and it's a status symbol.
Well, when you
in
go
the-
you go back to like if you think about the Bible, it was
Animals.
shame.
Yes.
Shame. Nudity. There was nothing to be ashamed of in nudity in the Garden of Eden.
Exactly.
And when we were expelled, we gained that shame of
Right.
nudity. And so I think that's part of the show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you have that kind of like, oh, you have to wear clothes.
Mhm.
It's part of the original sin. And I thought that was really interesting for Trigger to do.
And who's the only character that's embarrassed over, if she's naked or like being perved on? It's Ryoko. And Ryoko's at the end of the day us. Like I got this bigger goal in mind, but don't demean me for what I am. So it's a playful way of doing it in the most ridiculous fashion. We're talking about a talking sailor uniform that drinks the blood of his host.
Yeah, the tropes are there,
Yep,
man.
yep.
It's very trope heavy.
Yeah.
But I do get the nonsensical thing, and I think from watching their stuff, it's an intentional thing.
Yeah, very.
Because it all of it is that way, and I feel like they take it to that level to just as a way to say this is how absurd these things
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
Well, there's
since
always
this absurd, we're going to take it and make it even more absurd.
That one's the
Yeah.
only one because even Gurren Lagann, even like Darling and the Franks, they have it's going up. It aims up with all the characters. They're aiming towards the sky. That's pretty much the theme for most of their shows.
Yeah.
Kill is the only one where it's like, no, we're going up with the absurdity. We're going up with the insanity levels and making it, more endearing. Because Gurren Lagann, of course, it's definitely the same tone.
Yeah.
But ultimately there's a bigger prize at the end of the day.
Well, I think with Gurren Lagann, there was surprisingly more balance
That as well. And the tones.
than there was I mean, not for all of the episodes.
Yeah.
Most of it is like there's a certain amount of insanity and goofiness. But I felt that it was more balanced than Kill la Kill.
Very. I agree.
Yeah, I think Kill la Kill, they weren't worried about being
That's what I mean.
balanced at all
That's
whatsoever.
what I mean at the end of the day.
Yeah, and like Jamaal said, they took it to like its most extreme, like yeah.
Very extreme.
Yeah.
But the message came through loud and clear. I take that back. The messages.
Yes.
'Cause they had-
Good call.
They had a number of big overriding themes in that show.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
So,
Did you like the Elite Four? We didn't really talk about the Elite Four that much in our episode.
the Elite Four?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're interesting.
Yeah.
Like I was about to say with Satsuki, like she even makes them look comparable. Like all of them I'm not crazy about. But with her, how she controls them, they're best team.
Good leader.
Yeah,
She was a great leader.
I agree because they have their egos and their the things.
Their goals too.
Yeah, they have their egos and their goals and the things that drive
Not
them.
all of them.
Well, yeah.
Not all of them.
Only the girl. Girl's the only one's like
Yeah, he's
for Satsuki.
yeah, he was 100% down for her.
Yeah.
He was like whatever she says goes. He
The,
was
the
loyal.
hacker was his own thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I found him interesting too. The sword guy I wasn't crazy about. And when they went to Osaka, that was like when the show kind of dipped. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Because it's like gang warfare at the end of the day.
Yeah, and what became more insane,
Yes.
and she was just, I guess that was just her carrying out her
The groundwork at least.
the groundwork for her mom's plan, supposedly,
Supposedly.
but not really. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was her own kind of like rebellion.
Right.
Yeah.
So those were some humorous moments, and the animation gets like downright like Simpson-esque.
Yeah, it does.
And if you had
That's
to
a
pick,
good comparison.
and if you had to pick your favorite episode, which one would it be?
That's a tough one.
For me,
It is hard.
For
It's a
me, is
tough
the class competition to get to the school.
Oh my gosh.
That was very chaotic.
Very.
Very chaotic. So I could see that.
That was Ryoko's highlight. That's the only episode where I really liked Ryoko.
Okay.
Because she goal in mind. I have to get to school or else I get expelled.
I think mine have to be when Mako becomes
rich.
Yeah.
I figured somebody was going to say that.
Yeah, I
thought that was a nice let me down,
Yeah.
a nice break,
A learning
Yeah.
break. Yeah.
because it did get heavy.
Yeah,
So that was a nice little let me down, and it
yeah. She was the comic relief.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it also went to show how like quickly their critiques of capitalism.
They had
yeah.
that
The
too.
enticements.
So
yeah,
the enticements of how it's there.
And status. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. They did that really quickly and really well.
It was very quick. It was
Mhm.
very all right. Here's
Here's our
the-
theme.
here's the plan,
We
here's
laid it
the
out for
thing.
you. Yeah,
It's like here we're gonna give this to you. She's rich for a minute. We're taking it back.
yeah. We're taking it away.
We're taking it back. I mean, because they end up learning. Hey, look,
The lessons,
the
yeah.
lessons in it. So that was cool.
And that's a genuine surprise for me, Jamaal, because when those sexual things happen in the show, lewdness, you still pioneer through, and that's commendable at the end of the day. So at least they gave you that try.
Look, man, for y'all, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I may not like it, but I'm gonna watch it.
But
It's not. It wasn't to a point like
It didn't.
they played it for laughs.
Yeah, and it didn't derail.
Yeah.
I like that it doesn't derail the entire show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
could have.
It fit into the theme of the show, so
Yeah.
it made sense.
Yep.
There's a character in another anime, Full Metal Panic.
Yes.
The second raid. There's a character in that show that I almost stopped watching the show because he was so
Pervy.
well, not even just pervy, but so ridiculously over the top in his like grossness, where I'm like, I don't know if I can keep watching this. If they hadn't stopped focusing on him, I don't think I would have made it through that. Yeah.
And another one is Golden Boy. It's only 6 episodes, but there's a specific fetish in there. I won't spoil it. It's a make or break. And if
Okay.
a lot of anime fans have seen it, they know what I'm talking about.
So yeah, we brought this up with Mushko Tensei.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
To, like how we both were on the fence, like, all
Like,
right,
oh man,
he's starting to go a little too far.
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
this gonna go? Are they
Yeah.
gonna scale this back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they found a way to redeem it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, in the absurdness of this show, it made sense.
Yeah.
And they played it for laughs. And like we said, the family was comic relief. So every time they would do something, she'd punch them, their nose would bleed, they go flying off.
Yeah.
Even the dog. Like, so it was like,
Guts.
it was
Guts.
like, you got it.
Yeah.
They needed that little relief. So it was all right.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, man. Maybe I guess the last big battle.
Yeah, it's endearing. It's
I guess the last big
they're in
battle.
space. Yeah.
Yeah. When they all join up. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
they
yeah.
group hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
They came to that understanding.
the final minute too. I love it. Million pieces all over.
Well, watching Satsuki.
You know what? No, I take that back. I liked it. I think my favorite episode is when Ryoko turned heel.
That's a good episode.
I
Good
think
episode.
I like that
yeah,
episode.
and they switched uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Sasuke and Aka.
Yeah.
Junkets.
Yep. I love that look. I want to get a figure of that.
It's available. It's expensive though.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
rare.
That could be one of your wallet slayers. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Because we're not slaying our wallets on any Comey merch. So thank you, Jack.
The stone wall.
Let's not talk about that, please. Let's save that for we're gonna do an entire episode where we bash Jack for that. We're just not gonna do it now.
I'm being blamed for no Comey merch. No.
But I did
you
enjoy when Satsuki and the Big Four started interacting with the nude beach characters.
Yeah.
Everybody
Nudist the bitch.
Yeah, everybody. When everybody starts interacting with each other, it's very interesting to like see her deem to work with them.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And that's another show. We literally did an episode on it, and we're still talking about it now. And that's Trigger
Well,
in a
there's
nutshell,
so
too.
much to. I mean, I think there was so much ground. You could spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
You could just spend. You could spend an episode dissecting
Episode
each-
by episode.
Episode by
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could do an entire mini series just talking about that show.
Yeah.
And because I mean it's one of the Trigger shows where like I didn't pay a lot of attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
until Jack was like,
You gotta
gotta
watch
watch
it.
this.
It's my number one for a reason.
yeah. And I was like, how is this his number one?
For
I'm
Trigger,
like,
at least.
Yeah. And then, well, that's still not my number one for Trigger.
Yes,
you know.
yes. And I don't blame you.
My Darling in the Franxx will always be like, unless, it's just, hey, man. But I after watching it, I came around to Jack's way of thinking. I was like, I get this. I understand this. I understand why he loves this show so much. This is definitely a Jack show.
The music, the girls, the action, the video game aspects.
What did you think about the length of the show?
Just there. It could have, like I said, it could have easily knocked off at least 2 or 3 episodes.
I thought it was fine. I didn't think that it was longer than it needed to be. And I didn't think that it needed to go on in any way.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it was like,
They could have went the Dragon Ball route. They could have had like one episode with one each elite, have a whole arc on that.
This was a 26 episode, right?
Yes, yes.
So yeah,
It breezes through though.
Yeah, I didn't feel that it was overly long.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I didn't get that feeling either. I thought it was pretty well paced.
Yeah,
I think Jack, like you said, I think they could have done without an episode or two.
The Osaka arc.
Like if they cut off a couple
I think
episodes.
you just don't like that arc.
It's a blur. It's a big blur.
Well, a lot happens in those. There's a lot. They
set
cover,
up.
yeah.
Until the Satsuki,
So
turns.
which is why I get it. But I thought the 26 worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
And it
so,
doesn't
too.
work for everything.
No, some shows do not need.
Yeah, it did not feel like it dragged on.
No.
And I don't feel like
Well, even when you mentioned that, I had to stop and say, was it 12 or was it 24? And
There's
I'm
2
like,
openings, 2 closings.
it feels like it's 20. It feels like it's 12.
yeah.
So that says something.
Yeah.
About the show
I agree.
and its pacing and how, like Jack said, how breezy how quickly the episodes go by. Where you're like, all right, I want to watch another one, and I want to watch another one, and then before you know it, you've watched 4 or 5, and you don't. It doesn't feel like it. But that's a credit to Trigger and the way they're telling their story.
Yeah, and it's almost 10 years old, and I'm already seeing artists that think like they've done work for like years and years, but they're like, oh, I finally saw Kill. It's coming around. It's definitely coming around with a lot of people. So,
well, that's great because I think it's one of those shows that if you're an anime fan,
no, it's a guarantee.
You have to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because I mean,
And Trigger in general. Yeah.
yeah. And this one in particular, I'm glad you watched it, Jamaal. Yeah.
I watched it.
Yeah, I'm glad you watched this one. That's pretty exciting. And I'm glad you liked it too.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the stuff you guys recommend I'm going to like. There's very few things that I'm going to watch and be like,
Fair.
Yeah. Well, we try to focus on
Because if
stuff.
it's something I wouldn't like, I'll probably know it just from the description.
Fair.
Well, that's part of why
Yeah.
we do the show. We want like to bring attention to shows we think that like people should be watching, or shows that I think maybe have fallen under the radar, or for some reason or the other might be forgotten. This one, I don't know. I think the fans of this show are the fans of this show.
It comes in boomerangs.
but-
Yeah.
But I think bringing it back was a good idea
Oh, yeah.
because it's a great show, and I think it's one that if you haven't watched it and you are getting into anime and you like anime, I think it's one of those shows where it will just make you like anime more. Yeah, that the enthusiasm and like
It was my first ever hype show too. Like I was about 2 years in watching a lot of anime. I'm like, okay, Trigger from Gainax. They did Gurren Lagann and Fooly Cooly. Kill. It's gonna be on Netflix. Okay, worth a look.
And then Jack watched it, and that was all.
Changed my life, and that's why when I got a HD TV, first time I ever having HD TV. That was the first show I watched.
Don't show this to kids.
No, parental
No.
advisory.
At least let them. At least make them be teens.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Like
is definitely
high school age at least.
Yeah, this is definitely you definitely need a parental warning on
Right.
this one because there is a certain level of nudity that goes on.
Implied.
Nudity and violence. And plus, the older you get, I think the more the messages in the show resonate.
Oh,
yeah,
very much
definitely.
So it's something that you should,
This is definitely I think that it is actually something that teens should watch.
Yeah.
Because me and Jack were having this discussion earlier about another show that we were watching, Super Cub,
Yeah.
and how these shows are almost literature.
That
in that the themes that they discuss,
and female protagonists, too,
are
ultimately.
they're very relatable.
Extremely.
For teens.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And they deliver different messages that I don't think that you get in American animation at all.
Nope.
Yeah. So I think it's almost like recommending a certain book at a certain age.
Right.
Yeah, like recommending Kill la Kill, as goofy as it can be, as over the top and insane as it can be. I still think there are a lot of messages in there that are important for teens, like individuality, knowing who you are, separating, what you think between what everybody else thinks.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's some important messages there for teens, but yeah, for kids,
No,
definitely
no. Upper teenager for sure.
Yeah, somebody 12 and above. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Jamaal, for that.
All right. So catch-up number 2. This is the Edwin catch-up.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Lycoris Recoil.
All right.
I did watch it.
Oh, nice, dude. I'm excited because this show took over the season for me. I mean, it wasn't even something that I had, it wasn't one of the big sequels that was out, like, Overlord. And it wasn't like one of the other shows that they had like promoted strongly. It was just one that was there on Crunchyroll. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this. And I started watching it. And I was like, the first episode, I was on the fence. But like by the second or third episode, there were moments in the show where I'm like, all right, I'm down. I'm hooked. I'm there. Let's do this.
It hooked you.
Yeah.
And I get why you like it.
Yeah,
I get why you like it. There's a lot of heart in the show.
definitely.
There's definitely a lot of heart in the show. There's good action, but it keeps you engaged.
It does.
It keeps you engaged. Chisato, I see why she's like your favorite.
She is a ray of sunshine.
She really is.
Yeah.
But she's not bubbly personality that you see in a lot of anime that's just like airheaded.
Yeah, no.
No, she is choosing to be this way because of how her life is gone.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm actively going to be this person. Yeah. And she's bringing that
It's
out
a
of
choice.
everybody else. It's a choice.
Yeah.
And so it makes that character stand out from a lot of other characters that people would compare
that
it
style.
to.
Yeah. I mean, because if you don't realize that, if you just say, oh, she's just like every other like bubbly blonde character, she's not. Like you said,
she's not.
Her personality is a choice. There's darkness in the world, and she chooses to be a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit kinder, a little bit nicer. And I think it's because of the nature of what she is, number one, and the nature of what she's done in the past. Her medical issues almost transformed her into a different person because of the generosity that was shown to her. And that's an important part of her character.
You know what with her character, and this is probably going to seem way off to you, but I got like a 7 pounds vibe from her.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the same thing, because Will in it.
It's a decent movie.
Will Smith back when, we liked Will Smith.
Yeah, I know. Going for the drama arc and all that. He tries.
Back when we
respected
him as
an actor and a person.
Yeah.
Back then, we all know the movie. If you don't, too bad. It's been like 20 years.
It's ahead of its time, I would argue.
He killed somebody
while texting and driving. He
felt bad about that, and so he's giving his different organs to these people that are in need. And so I kind of got that from Chisato, where she's feeling bad about this life that she had to live, but she's spreading all this positivity to people and doing everything she can to bring Takina out that darkness.
Yeah.
Over into where she's at. So that's the parallel that I kind of saw.
Well, it might actually be a parallel because there's a lot of references to other movies.
Yes.
John Wick
In this
especially.
show,
John Wick.
Yeah. I mean, they've compared it. They've called it the John Wick anime.
It's because of how the action scenes are structured and the motions.
But you could tell that the creators were huge action fans.
Yeah, and older anime as well, like Dirty Pair and Full Metal Panic.
Yeah, there's definitely a callback to earlier anime.
Yeah.
Especially the pairing. But one of my favorite things about this show is just the dialogue, the back and forth between, Shihato and Takina. It's so fast.
And that's what throws me off. That's why I didn't really jump on board initially.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Not being able to...
I'm on the record. It's not bad.
What threw you off?
No,
the dialogue? Or
the fast-paced dialogue?
The fast-paced, especially the first episode. The first episode, okay, orphans are killing people to help the government. Whoa, okay, give me a minute. Give me a minute to breathe.
That's another thing that's like
it wasn't.
You see that in anime fairly.
You name
that
it.
wasn't
even Psychopaths. I would agree. Yeah,
that wasn't necessarily an original thing.
No.
The thing,
far from it. Don't get me wrong with that.
The thing that for me was different was the scale.
Yeah.
Of it. Yeah. This is a huge organization.
Yeah, and you don't see it initially.
No. Yeah. I mean, this is a huge organization. Like, we've seen Gunslinger Girls.
Okay, that was a good example.
They have a smaller, hit team. This is like a high school's worth
full-scale governmental operation.
Yeah, they are covering up. And
this is just the girl side.
Yeah.
Because you have the boys.
One of the crazy things that I was thinking about.
That was a good twist, I admit.
One of the crazy meta things that I was thinking about is that the villain in this so there's a movie called Hot Fuzz. It's a British movie that came out quite some time ago. And it's weird because that movie is all about other action movies.
Right.
But
Point Break, yeah.
The plot, so what the Lycoris Recoil, what these girls are doing is very similar to the plot of that movie.
I can see
where
that.
This British town is essentially getting rid of anybody who's a problem, who they view as a problem in society. Mm-hmm. Now, that movie takes it to an extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of Lycoris Recoil kind of takes it to an extreme, too, because these people aren't getting any due process.
Right.
They're just being summarily executed.
Similar to Psychopaths,
by young girls.
Yes.
Under the idea of
a perfect society.
A utopia.
The idea of one.
Yeah. So it's like anything, if you're snatching a purse, you're done.
Yeah. I'm like, they're taking you out. There's no questions asked.
You out.
You disappear.
They're not even debating like Psychopaths. It's like, nope.
They're taking you out. You're disappearing. And they're going to cover it up.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Which is, you see that when they do the big subway shootout.
They cover it all up.
Yeah.
His terrorist activity, he comes to realize that his terrorist activities are that he can't because he really is a terrorist in the sense that he's not doing this necessarily to kill people,
right?
But he is doing it to deliver a message. Like, here is my message, but his message isn't getting out because it's being covered up.
Of course.
And so he discovers this, and he's like, "That's the message that I need to get out. Is that we can't get out a message. There is no freedom of expression, of violent expression in this country." Because it's being covered up by, essentially vigilantes, state-sponsored vigilantes who are wiping out anything that they don't agree with. Yeah. And so he tries to create his own. And I thought that was very complex.
Yeah.
For an anime. I mean, we've seen it before. Like you said, Psychopaths. Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
We've seen it before. The way it plays out here is very fast paced,
and that throws
and
me
it
off.
doesn't tonally it doesn't overwhelm the show. The show still manages to maintain its this is totally due to Takina, where it manages to create, and I mean the relationship, and they play a lot of things for laughs and stuff too. So it manages to do this without being as dark as something like Psychopaths
or Full Metal Panic,
and they balance it out with the whole.
They really do.
The Lyco Rico shop.
Yeah.
Because in those moments, it really feels like a slice of life.
Yeah, I was about
It
to
does.
think,
It does.
those are the person like, okay, what show am I watching?
But
It makes sense because it's while they have that and it makes it feel like a slice of life. There's also a lot going on behind the scenes.
And
there.
that's the thing. The action's just that, there. And
The action in the show is actually very good.
The action
is
excellent.
very well done.
yeah.
Very well done.
The choreography of the action scenes,
You can see it.
It's
in motion.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Spy Family is a close comparison, but this one does it in its own unique way.
yeah, like the showdown at the end.
Yeah.
And I love that they have 2 showdowns
Yeah.
instead of 1. How they managed to tie up everything in that one episode was insanity. But I love that you're like, all right, this is the showdown. No, this isn't the showdown.
No.
The showdown is, the last episode. And so you get 2 showdowns. And I thought, like, who does that? What show does that? What show reaches its climax and says, no, this isn't our climax. This is our climax. And you're not unhappy with it. It doesn't feel like they were stretching anything out. I'm like, why are they? And that was my initial response was, why are they stretching this out? But no, they don't stretch it out. They just turn everything on its head. And then then they end it.
Yeah.
And I was completely happy.
Yeah.
I was completely happy with almost everything the show did and how they did it. Because I thought, like, this is perfect. I don't really have any complaints about the show.
I don't either. It's like you said, a lot of the stuff that they did in the show wasn't groundbreaking, but the way that they did it was unique and it made it stand out.
Yeah.
Like Takina's character, you see that in every show.
Yeah.
Like the quiet,
she
by the rules.
similar Akame,
Seems like
Satsuki. Yeah.
everything they're in every show.
She's devoted to the system
Right.
because the system has taken care of her. How is there anything else outside of the system?
Exactly.
And Chisato's like, you don't need this. You can be yourself. You can do things on your own. You don't have to do it their way. You don't owe them any loyalty.
Right.
They're just assassins. they're just a group.
People are killed.
They're just a group of asshole assassins. You don't have to devote yourself to them. There is another way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the reveal was cool, where the whole thing was just to get Chisato to kill somebody. That was the entirety of the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
To try to get her to kill somebody, and she would not do it.
No, she's
Till the very last moment.
And that was only to save other
Takina.
people.
Yeah. That was only to save other people in a way that was freedom for her too, because it's like, look, we understand that you don't want to kill people, but Majina made a point where it's just like, sometimes you may just have to go there.
Yeah.
So it's just like, do you want Takina to die because you want to stick to your morals of this? This person's bad and is trying to take all of you out.
Yeah.
And so in the way where you said they had the 2 showdowns, it was necessary for them to have those 2 showdowns
Because of 2 characters, yeah.
because of what they were trying to say.
The driving force.
Driving force of the show.
Gotcha.
So you had the dude from the Allen Project, who's just like, I need her to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I need her to be this ultimate killing machine that we made her into, and he's just pushing, and Majima's just falling into it just because, he wants to get his expression out.
Yeah.
And their forces just happen to align at Chisato. If Majima didn't have to kill Chisato, he that wasn't his thing.
No.
It was a battle of ideals for him.
Yeah.
But for her, it was something bigger because of this looming object in the back.
And what the thing that I like about this show is that that's not anything new for anime.
Exactly.
But it doesn't overburden the show. It doesn't become like this, oh my God, they don't beat you over the head with it the way some anime do. It becomes like they have to stand there and talk at each other for like half an hour. And it's like,
And that's why I initially thought it would be like. That's why I was so reserved for initial. Yes,
no, it's like boom, boom,
yes.
boom, boom.
I got more because you saw more. I give you that
Yeah.
because my initial reaction.
The plot beats and the idea beats, move just as fast as the dialogue beats. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's kind of like if Laverne and Shirley were John Wick. You know, that you laugh at my comparison.
It's true,
but it's very
It makes
apt.
sense.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
Very good, because it feels like a 70s show, to be honest.
well, it's a sitcom
Because
about,
especially that cafe.
it's a sitcom about assassins.
Yeah.
And it's a sitcom about action heroes and what they do in their downtime.
And they become besties.
and how they behave. Like there's a whole episode about Takina's underwear.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, what would an action hero if you lived in this secret organization, and suddenly there were boxers, it's like, the boxers might work better than the underwear.
And it shows Takina like her own true self in a weird way.
Yeah. And there's that clip that I sent you where Shisato does a flip while she's playing a video game.
Yeah.
And Takina's reaction's like, is she wearing boxers? What? Yeah.
And that wasn't, and again, that wasn't played for that. It made sense.
Yeah.
It made perfect sense, and that didn't bother me, didn't make me uncomfortable. Because you see a lot of underwear shots in anime.
Yeah.
But for that,
Well, see, the
it
thing
made
is,
sense.
in that scene, you don't actually see them.
Right.
And I thought
She
that's one of the
sees it.
clever things about this show.
Yeah.
Because she notices it.
It's the reaction
Yes.
too.
Right.
It's like,
Yes.
what? Yeah. So it's the reactions too. And that, I like that because it's not played for laughs. Well, it's played for laughs, but it's not played
That
for
wasn't-
discomfort.
Right. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was played for laughs, but it was a serious thing too. Because it's just like, no, this is just more comfortable.
Well, it was more comfortable, but it was also about Shisato's mission of enlightening Takina.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is how you express yourself.
Right.
These clothes, these things, it's like you don't always have to wear the uniform.
Which ties into Kill.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
Well, I was
so.
about to
See how I
say,
did
like,
that?
Ryuko, when she wears those
Yeah.
jammies compared to like her other revealing clothing and even her schoolgirl outfit, I'm like, that's her. She's just, normal person at the end of the day kind of thing.
And that's what I think Shisato, through all of that, the nonsense and the
Yeah.
humor, that's what she was trying to show her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
express
And
yourself.
you did have to mention this to me, Edwin, and I had to be re-educated. I'm like, you're right. It's the girl version of Vash the Stampede from Trigun. And
Well, that's
Did you see that they came out with a new trailer?
yeah, and the visual too. It doesn't show Meryl yet, one of my favorite characters.
So what was your favorite episode for Lycoris Recoil? Did you have one? Was there, if not, what were your favorite moments? What were your favorite references to action movies?
There was a lot that I like. Like you said, there's not much I didn't like about this show.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was very good. Like
the underwear episode, for example.
and it.
well, even that, like I said, relates.
That was a
back
very
to-
good episode.
Yeah.
That was a very good episode, and they call back to it later on.
The first car chase scene is gorgeous. That's probably my favorite sequence.
It's a good episode when Takina finds out that Chisato's about to die, and she's
Yeah.
planning this day, and she's like, "All right, we got to go here. All right, we got to do this. All right, we got to do this."
Yeah.
So you see that the aquarium scene when she first brings Takina there, and she's trying to break her out,
Yeah.
and she's doing the little
Sakana.
motions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Takina does the little fish thing, and they start to bond. So there's a lot of great moments in there when Teach shows that his leg is perfectly fine. That was so
Yeah.
good. And he's like, "Don't you tell anybody."
Yeah.
So that was good.
Oh, and the little hacker Lolita.
Yeah.
She was really good. All the characters.
She
are
was
great.
good.
All the characters.
She
are
was
great.
good.
Yeah, all
She
the
was a fun
characters.
actor.
Even though they're kind of tropes, it's never overdone.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, there's a lot of things. Like a lot of it is stuff that we've seen. They're tropes,
Before, yeah.
but they do it in a unique way,
Yeah.
which makes it feel fresh.
And it's a slow
Very
burn.
And that's what, and that's I think that's the strength of the show,
Yeah.
and that's why people
It is-
are so high on it.
Well, I think that it's very familiar.
Yeah.
It's a new anime, but it feels like you said, and I think at the end of the day, what it is the creators know their shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we know anime, we know action movies,
Right.
and we put everything together in a way that is not. We're not doing anything new or over the top, but we're masters of they're masters of what they know, and they're able to put it together, like you said, in a fresh and new way that it's like you can't help but love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like my favorite episode is actually like I believe it's the third episode where it solidified like my affection for this show
Mm-hmm.
because Takina has done what she did. She's been exiled.
Right.
They're blaming essentially everything. This organization and its members are blaming everything on her,
Mm-hmm.
and she's taking the emotion. She's taking this on. She's not saying that they fucked up.
Right.
She's not saying that it was their fault.
She's being a good soldier.
She's being a good soldier. She's taking the blame. She's taking the fall, and it's crushing her because this is her home. This is where she belongs. And Takina just picks her up, like literally and figuratively, like just picks her up and twirls her on and says,
Yeah.
"You're better than this. You're more than this. There's more to life than this." And you can see at that moment, Takina's like, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe there is.
Because she was very resistant early on.
Yeah, she really was. And I was like, I can't watch a show that's
And,
just
and,
like,
that, and that's the
where
rabbit hole
this-
I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
thinking like Chisato was just being that person, being that trope.
no.
No.
There's
Chisato,
reasons behind all
There's
of that.
reason behind it.
And
And it
so
makes sense.
when
And they
she-
called back to that later at the end when Takina is faced with the similar choice once again.
Yeah.
And
She makes the choice.
She makes the choice.
She makes the choice without any hesitation. And this time, I think without any regret.
Right. Because
She's like, yeah.
It was from being around Chisato and figuring out, all right, this is that freedom of thought that she was talking about.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what? I could live a life outside of that. So I'm going to do this to save this person that saved me.
Yeah. And in the episode, she lifts her up because everybody's shitting all over her.
Right.
Like her partner,
Fuki
yeah, her partner and the new girl, they're all like I'm like, damn, mean girls.
Even though the girl that she saved is trying to get to her.
she is,
They're
keeping
blocking
her
away. And
but
that-
they're blocking her
Yeah.
from doing
And
it.
that's the episode I
because
didn't like.
She saved her life.
No, it made sense in the show.
That's what I mean. It's
All
just-
of it
Because
Because
makes sense.
I didn't like the Mean Girls vibe. I'm like,
Well, it makes sense because that's what
That's the
they're-
minds. They're brainwashed into being that way.
Yeah. And so
You're
at
right.
first I had Jack's kind of like I felt what Jack was going through because I hate that situation.
Right.
And watching Takina go through it, I'm like, man, this is rough. But when Chisato lifts her up, and then when Chisato they want to have a they're like, this is Chisato. we want to prove ourselves against this. She can't.
Oh yeah.
She can't be that good. She can't be that good. And when she cold cocks that girl in the face,
Yeah.
I was like, all right. She's like, you mess with Takina.
Edwin gets the pre-order of a figure and shit. Doing
Well,
that scene, bam.
I was like, yes, yes, in your face, yes. And then not only does Chisato hit her, but she humiliates her
Yes.
by not taking her out in that moment and letting Takina come in and have the kill shot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. After that, I was like, I love this show.
Because I know you mentioned that before.
Yeah.
So I knew that was coming.
But
That was
Yeah.
such a good portion of it. Because you see she's just toying around with him.
yeah,
She's just toying around with him because she could have taken him out in an instant.
yeah,
But it's like you said, she knows Takina's going to come.
yeah.
And she's like, I'm just
She
going to
gives her that moment.
She gives her that moment so
Yeah.
she could redeem herself.
Yeah,
At least a little moral victory amongst these people.
yeah.
So
To have that moment for herself.
Yeah. Because she knew
Yeah.
she needed it.
Yeah.
Even though she knew she's working on bringing her up and showing her you don't, but she knew she needed that to help her move on.
And it's those little things like that that give the show so much credibility.
Yes.
And it gives the viewers so much trust in what they're doing. And it's like, all right, take me on this trip. I trust you. I like what you've done. I like where you're going. Take me on this trip. I want to go on this ride with you. Yeah. And it's like, I just want more.
Wait. So what would you like if you were to get more? What would you like to see?
I don't know.
Because I don't know if I want to see another season.
The thing that I like is that I don't know what I want to see, but that's the thing. It's like I trust them enough to take me on whatever ride it is that they're going, whatever it is that they want to come up with, whatever it is they want to do. I'm cool with that because I've liked what they've done. And so it's like, if they don't want to do anything else, that's fine. I have what I have. I'm happy with that. But if they were to do something else, I would trust them enough to be like, all right, let's see. What do we do? You know, like, are there any other, what is Majina good? What is he doing? Because you know he's not going to stop.
He's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's not dead.
He's not dead. And you know he's not going to stop.
No.
He's going to do something else. And it's going to be bigger and crazier than it was before. Lycoris Recoil is still there. And you have the
Lily Bells.
Right. You have the boys versus the girls. How is that situation going to play out?
That's second season for sure.
Right. So it's like you have that tension between these two government agencies that you could totally play around with. You have the rest of the world who has problems that these two girls could knock out. So if they go international, and I mean, they did a little bit at the end of the episode,
right,
in the Hawaii scenes, that was pretty funny.
It was.
So seeing where, like, they could really go anywhere with this. Like, I would like to see an international aspect to it, like them globetrotting around the world, or even just going back to Japan and dealing with the tension between those two groups and how to resolve that, and being like the chaos that Shisato is, and like just the fact that she totally failed at being what the Allen Institute wanted her to be.
Right.
And just more of that, like bringing more of that, like Shisato positivity into the world and slowly changing the world because of it. So
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'd like to
see that.
That's what I'd like to see.
Well, yeah, and a quick little thing, because you mentioned that this production crew knows their shit. We're talking A1 Productions, and they also did Kaguya-sama, Love is War, and they're going to be doing Nier Automata. Oh my God, that's in January, people.
Keep
Jack,
that for the winter preview.
You need to watch this.
I did
before you start talking about.
I did.
Show.
I'm not.
So you watched.
I didn't finish the
watch
conclusion, but I felt like it was going that route at least. It improved.
He probably
it
watched 3
improved.
episodes.
Like Jamaal said, it was good from the beginning.
It was a strong show.
It was one of those ones where I needed to register.
And I was skeptical of it in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, similar to Jujutsu Kaisen, I needed to take a break. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to rewatch this from the beginning to get a gist of it.
I felt the same way with Jujutsu Kaisen at the very beginning.
Yes.
Because it gave me a lot of shonen vibes. Almost to the point
for
where
me,
I'm like,
I just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
It's story,
they kind of started it in a weird. They did that thing.
They
where
do it for
it's
its own
kind of
take.
like we're going to give you a flash forward sequence and then walk back, which
it's hard.
Well, it was very like shonen. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be overly over the top shonen.
Like My Hero.
But they really balanced it out with the horror and like the other characters.
They finally found a pathway.
Well, I felt that the characters drive that show.
Yeah.
The horror and the characters really drive that show, and like the character development, I think, is really important for that show. Yeah. And then the same thing for this show. I mean, I don't understand your reluctance, Jack. Just love the show.
I told you
Love
this
the
whole
show.
episode.
There's a lot to like about the show. There's a lot of characters that you could really,
like I said,
like.
It was me just registering it. Like,
oh my goodness,
I'm so used to Full Metal Panic. I'm so used to this.
What's her name? The girl that was paired up with the hacker.
Oh, the older woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her name
I
off the
can't
top
remember.
of my head.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
But she was funny.
She was.
She was funny
She
because
was meant to, yeah.
they were dragging that girl everywhere.
Yeah.
and she's just kind of like trying to keep up.
I like her because she's kind of like the soccer mom.
Yeah.
Who's like driving the cars.
Yeah.
But she's not driving the cars for, kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they are kids, but she's driving, for a hacker, who's wanted by the police and who everybody thinks is dead. And then you have two assassins. And so, but she's still kind of like, well, not the soccer mom, but the drunken older sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of plays that. And I love the fact that when everybody's disbanding, she's going to marry some rich guy in Canada.
Vancouver, yeah.
Yeah, and they totally screw that up for her. And it's like, oh, that was funny.
You know what? Another episode I liked was when Takina found out that the cafe was not making any money at all.
Oh.
And she's just like, no, I'm taking over everything.
Yeah, she's like,
that was very
do you guys even know how to run this? She's like, that was good. The rock, paper, scissors was funny too.
Rock, paper, scissors was funny.
Yeah, like there's all these little moments that are spread.
For somebody that's so into slice of life, Jack is
well, like I said, there's a show called Full Metal Panic. Burn the Witch, that one too as well, and Psychopaths. Those are dark shows.
But this
one isn't dark at all, and it
what
has
throws
some
me off.
very good slice of life elements.
You get two halves. You literally get John Wick, shooting up people, and then the scenes where they're in the gun range, for the competition. I'm like, what is this? My brain just did not jump over those hoops. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that. I don't know what to say.
I know, and it's a show.
At a loss for words.
It's a show. At the end, I would like. It's just a matter of like figuring it out.
Well, I think
why is this special? Why is Edwin liking so much?
It wouldn't even take any time for you to figure out. You just need to sit. If you were to just sit down and just watch it, not even with any. Like trying to figure out why Edwin loves it so much, or trying to figure this out. If you were to just sit there with an open mind and just watch this as a show,
I think you're bringing too much baggage to it.
Well, yeah, and like I said, experiences.
Well, that's. I think that you're trying to bring these other shows to it.
Yeah,
and I think that's where you're being. I think that's what's blocking you from your enjoyment of it, because I think what it is that. You have to accept it for what it is, and I think that you're for some reason you're fighting it.
Well, this whole time when guys agreeing with you, I have seen more episodes. Just like I said, initially watching it, sometimes you have to jump through those hoops.
Well, like I said, the first it wasn't until I saw Chisato she literally picked this girl up, and she wasn't it wasn't like. It's like, I care about you, and I see myself in you, and I see the person that I used to be in you, and I don't want that for you. And she picks her up. She literally picks her up and twirls her around in the middle of this assassin headquarters. Yeah. And it's like, I love you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to lift you out of this funk that you're in, because these people do not deserve this. They do not deserve what's happening to you. Yeah. The feeling, the darkness that Takina is experiencing is being pushed upon her. And it was that, that odd sense of commitment to, almost like, it's almost like Chisato, and Chisato has gone through this.
Yes.
But it's almost like Chisato is the oldest one of the bunch. She comes across as the youngest, as the bubble airhead. That's she comes across as but Jamaal said
she reminds me a lot of Nadeshko from Laidback Camp.
But she isn't. That's the thing. Yeah. She's not at all. I mean, she might be a little bit scatterbrained at moments.
And you sense that she could be a klutz.
But not really.
No, far from it. I agree. It's
that girl is totally in control of her movement.
I think that's where Edwin is coming in at, where you're coming in with these preconceived notions of these character, of the tropes of this character, of this Chisato character.
Yes. But going through the motions of seeing those things happening again. Like
Yeah, and she totally erases all of them.
exactly.
She erases she's not that girl. She's not that person. This isn't that show. This is a totally different show. She is a hero. She's your, she's like your hero from Psychopaths or your hero from Full Metal Panic. She's your hero, and she lives up to it. Not only like but at the same time, it's almost Takina who's in that role of the hero. Like if you're gonna take Full Metal Panic, what's his name? Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, but he has that growth to do.
Yeah.
Chisato doesn't. Chisato's almost the sensei to everyone.
The little organization.
No, not the organization,
No.
but even like her little pocket universe at the cafe. Like her teacher, he's blinded by his love. Alan is blinded by his purpose. Takina is blinded by her
goals,
thing.
yeah.
The hacker's just the hacker. The older sister character, she's just the older sister character. It's Chisato who's leading all these people in the path that she wants them to. So she is as bubbly and as airheaded as the show tries to make her seem. She's not. She's not.
She's very put together.
Yeah, she's a very put together, sophisticated character, and I think that might be what's difficult to comprehend for the show. When you sit down to watch it, this show flies against your expectations a lot.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not like I'm like putting this.
And I'm not saying that you're bashing it.
No.
And I'm just trying to explain to you why I liked it so much.
And I'm literally a seasoned guy. It's like, yeah, for me watching a lot of shows like these, it's like I want to see the influences come in display. Like, okay, this is a different take. This is a different take. This is the awesome episode, but what's the meaning of it? Sometimes you just have to put it at bay, but other times those questions just come up.
Well, like Jamaal said,
that's something that I've learned from like watching The Wire ruined a lot of TV for me.
No, that's what I mean. That's a good example.
It ruined a lot of TV for me because after that I started watching things expecting the same
Wire.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, what's the message here? What are they trying to say? What is this? And I got that from wrestling too, where I kept watching it, wanting to see these things. Like, I want to see the story. I want to see this. What is going on here? Blah, blah, blah. And I realized over time that was ruining the experience for me. Mm-hmm. Because now, instead of just watching something to enjoy it, because it's entertainment, and instead of being entertained, I'm sitting here trying to make a educational lesson out of everything.
No, it's mainly because this show's like definitely a throwback, and like Full Metal Panic is like a real weird it's its own lost anime genre, I'd argue.
Well, it is, but this show kind of like brings that back.
It does
in a way,
and that's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
But not in the.
It naturally makes me think of that.
Well, see, with Full Metal Panic, they took themselves, I think, a little bit more seriously.
And it's weird.
And I think that's why they had to do Funfuru.
Yeah.
Because they had to keep when you did, because Second Raid was so hard to watch.
It's a tough timeline too.
They did Funfuru because it is that weird tonality, because you have what essentially is a slice of life mecha show, which like.
Yeah, I know.
And then
even Neon Genesis can be close.
And they're
to
like, we can't do that. Let's do more serious, where we focus on the action and the conflict. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, we can't do that. So let's go for another tone where we do Funfuru and it's silliness. Yeah. And so this show, Lycoris Recoil, manages to do everything that Full Metal Panic struggled with over the course of seasons. It just has it all.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a testament to not only the creators of the show, but anime itself and how it's grown over the course of the time, where you can have this humorous show and then balance it out with the action.
Yeah. I agree. It's a one of those things where different perspectives, and at the end of the day,
Yeah. I think the thing that you should do is just watch, since the whole thing is out.
I've seen up to
just
episode.
Watch the whole thing.
I've seen up to episode 8.
All I can say is, and this is my advice to anybody, regardless of what it is, whatever you're watching, it's entertainment. Just be entertained by it. So go in there with a blank mind and make it either I enjoy watching this or I don't. And then afterwards, if you enjoy watching it, then watch it again for all these different things that you're looking for to see if it has it. But just get to a point where it's just like, either I enjoy watching this or I don't, or else there's going to be a lot that's ruined for you. Because if you're looking for the messaging and stuff, then this show probably ain't going to be for you. There's still some goodness in there, but if you're looking for like kill level messaging, that ain't going to be it.
And that's what I'm trying to get back at with, because Kill literally is that first time watching it, you don't even think about the social cues
I
and
think
stuff
that,
like that.
this show does have messages in it.
It does,
but it's not as heavy-handed as
right.
Kill and Kill.
Right, and that's
Kill Kill's weirdly like, it has a commentary.
And that's my point. You got to go back. Like, I had to go back to being a wrestling fan that I was when I was 10 now in order to enjoy this stuff.
Yeah.
I had to start watching TV again as I did when I was younger now to be able to enjoy what it is. Sometimes things are so good that it ruins everything else for you. Sometimes you just got to like reset. And this plays into your personal relationships too with people.
Yeah.
You can't hold on to this old and bring it into this new thing. You just have to take everything for what it is. And then after that, it is what it is. But,
Well, yeah,
it doesn't have to be a show for you. And that's
not
all right.
a bad show.
But that's
It
why.
really isn't.
But that's why
we're not.
we're not saying that you think it's a bad show.
No,
I think what
I think
Edwin
you
and
were
I are
trying to
coming
understand why we enjoyed it so much.
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying.
It's
to
just different
explain
levels,
to you.
and that's why I said.
Yeah, we're trying to explain to you why we
we're
enjoyed it so
we're in
much.
the positive range. This is different. Sex.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't. The show for you didn't live up to. You don't see the show the way me and Jamal see the show.
Yeah.
And that's fine. We're just trying to explain to you why we saw the show in that way.
I agree.
So, and this is like listening to your last episode and understanding your rankings, which, again, ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Aw.
But
I also don't want you to, like Jamal said, to fall into that trap where you judge a show based on other shows that have come before it. Because I've noticed that, and I used to do that, but now it's like I'll watch a show, and is it the best show? Maybe not. Like, I watch a lot of isekai. Mainly I watch it so that I can review it for the show. But there are some will catch my attention. Are they as good as, that time I got reincarnated as a slime or Mushko Tensei? No. But do I enjoy them for different reasons? Yeah. And that's one of the things I love about anime, and that's one of the things that I love about Lycoris Recoil, is that you can watch a show and it's very, very different than other shows, but it's also enjoyable. Yeah. It's like, all right, this show is not as... Whether the art isn't as good or the writing isn't good or the story isn't as good, people are like, well, why would you watch that? I'm like, because it entertains me. It has elements in the show, for whatever the reason is, it entertains me. Like Skeleton Knight. We both liked Skeleton Knight last season. I mean, was it as good as Slime? No, nowhere near as good. Was the story as good as Mushko Tensei? No. Was it as epic? No. But the characters were cute. They went on adventures. That opening song by itself, that rock metal song, those things delivered. And so, like, I enjoyed myself. I had fun. And we compare them in the podcast to other shows, like,
right.
but that's because we're discussing what we felt it did right, what we felt it did wrong, but
And
like
it kind of
Jamal
gives
said,
it gives the listener a baseline
mhm,
of, hey, if you like this for these elements, watch this.
right.
So and that's good.
But for Lycoris Recoil, I feel that there's a lot of things to like here for a lot of different people.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that this show pushes anybody away, and I think that if you it's hard for me to say you won't like this show. Like I don't think there's anybody who like I mean unless you don't like action, unless you don't like slice of life, unless you don't like humor, I'm like,
If you don't like violence, you might not like the show because it gets a little violent at times.
it does, but it's
like,
never like over the top.
It's never over the top, but
Mhm.
there's just some people that just don't like gun violence at all,
That's
especially
true.
with what's going on in
Well,
today's world.
there's a.
Yeah.
I keep on mentioning John Wick action. John Wick action is very militant, and sometimes it goes flashy, and sometimes it doesn't have like a good balance with that. That's what I mean with the John Wick.
Well, this
aspect.
isn't like this.
I don't think
it's as over the top as John Wick.
I get the John Wick
references.
reference.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's John Wick at all.
No.
I don't think it's John Wick at all because John Wick is just like
just bodies flying.
It's John Wick.
It's
in
extreme.
all honesty, it's violence porn.
Yeah.
It's violence porn.
Nobody is.
You want to see this one dude go shoot a ton of people in all sorts of crazy ways. This show is not that.
I wouldn't call it violence porn as much as I would call it choreography porn. This is for John Wick is for like stunt people who have watched lots of action movies,
80s and 90s,
and you just get they love those choreographed action scenes, and that's what you get in John Wick. John Wick is just a series of choreographed action scenes that, like the Fast and Furious movies, have to top themselves because you need that bigger rush of adrenaline watching this every single time. And Lycoris Recoil doesn't.
It's more of a sense of gun motions, for example. Like they do a militant, then it gets kind of wacky.
Well, yeah, because you have it's like Michael Bay.
Yeah,
Michael Bay always has to have the
explosions,
same explosions, the same guys running up in tactical gear,
the camera,
the same
motions.
But action movies, that's something that is repeated in action movies, and you see a bit of it in like Lycoris Recoil, but I think they do a really good job of it.
Oh, it's the best stuff.
I think the action scenes are phenomenal. I mean, there's some goofiness with the bullets, but otherwise, hey man, like I said, like I trust the creators, and I want to go on this ride.
And with that said, we have finished our discussion on Lycoris Recoil. Please check out the anime on Crunchyroll. And yes, it's one of those shows that you'd be surprised where it takes you. Edwin and Jamaal liked it since day one. And for Jack, I confess, it took me a while to like it. And I do like it. I like it better than most popular anime that's come out recently. Overall, it's one of those shows that you have to have a leap of faith with it, bend with the norms a little bit. And at the end of the day, the message is loud and clear. So I thank the guys for putting up with the show and supporting it from day one. And with that said, we're going to be taking our first break. Coming up, we're going to have a quick review of another surprise catch-up, so surprising that Jack didn't even know. It's OddTaxi, Into the Woods. Stay tuned.
This is going to be a real quick thing because I don't think either one of you saw this. So for the joint catch up that I watched OddTaxi Into the Woods.
How did you see it online?
It was on Crunchyroll. It's on Crunchyroll now.
I didn't see that. Wow.
It's on Crunchyroll. I think if you go to OddTaxi, it's like like as another season under OddTaxi. But yeah, Into the Woods is in there.
Dang.
And so
We'll do that for future catch.
quick review. I mean, because you guys did an episode on OddTaxi.
Yeah.
And we all enjoy OddTaxi. It was a very good show. It deserved all the praise it got. So Into the Woods was what we saw in the previews. It was
A recap?
a recap of the movie. It was just like a series of interviews with the different characters that kind of went through the different beats of the story.
Is it kind of meta?
Into the end. No.
Okay.
It's kind of like you're watching the news, seeing, and they're reporting on this story, and they're interviewing this character. They're interviewing this character. They're interviewing this character, and it's showing you the different scenes from the show.
I actually managed to find this. I did find it. I thought you had seen it on Crunchyroll too, Jack, because I managed to actually watch just the start of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
nobody told me.
we thought you knew.
It's
I
a
didn't know.
surprise.
It is
Well,
a
it's
surprise
for a reason.
catch-up.
Because I initially
It's a
remember
surprise
hearing
catch-up
the
for you.
news.
But yeah, it's on Crunchyroll now.
It is.
All
I wasn't happy with this. I was very upset. I was very I expected it to be kind of like something in between or something. I don't like when TV shows do this. When they
recap
use
episodes.
the recap episode,
That's
and that's
all
what
it
the
is.
movie is.
It's a recap episode.
It's a recap episode, and it's them talking about how they feel about the things that have happened. And I'm like, wait, the way OddTaxi ends, you really can't do this like this.
No.
It's literally the ending of Usual Suspects.
Well, not
No.
Um,
No.
Well, the
it's-
same type of ending. Let's put it that way.
after the reveal, but the reveal of OddTaxi is even more impressive than the reveal of The Usual
I
Suspects.
would agree.
Because in The
Wholeheartedly.
Usual Suspects, you find out who the mastermind has been the entire time.
Yeah.
And you're like, your mind is blown. In OddTaxi, the reveal, again, is mind-blowing, but it's also reality-shattering.
Mm-hmm.
So when they started doing the movie like that, I'm like, I would have almost been more impressed if they hadn't used the animal forms
Yeah.
to do the interviews.
I didn't want the animal forms to be
Right?
either, but this was just, to me, it was just a primer
You're going for that twist.
to
Gotcha.
get people to watch. This was a 2-hour trailer to watch the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all
And
this
it's 2
was.
hours. Wow.
It was a 2-hour trailer to watch the show. And then at the end, because they gave you this big hype of, at the end, you're going to get to see what happened after the show. It's like in the credits, you get a few pictures. It was a letdown. It was a letdown.
Yeah, I didn't even, I was like, do I want to finish this?
So I was watching it.
I thought it'd be like extra scenes.
I'm
nothing more,
watching
nothing
it.
less.
Yeah, because that's what I'm watching it to see, like, okay, there's going to be something here.
Well, I felt like maybe this will be a side story or an adventure that he went on, Odokawa went on, that we didn't see or something.
Or even the cops. Like something.
Anything.
random. Yeah.
And it wasn't. And I was like, what?
Wow.
A 2-hour trailer to watch OddTaxi.
Well, you
Yeah.
see,
As I said, this was going to be short. All in all, watch OddTaxi.
Yes.
Great show.
Phenomenal.
You don't need to watch the
episode by
movie.
episode
No.
too.
You do not need to watch the movie.
Yes.
No. And that's almost upsetting as some of the live action stuff.
Thank you for tuning in to another great 950 Club session with Jamaal, Edwin, and Jack. We thank you for checking out this takeover, catch up, whatever. We're still learning on the fly with this podcast stuff, and I do admit it's great just to have all my friends together in the same room, in the same vicinity. It gives that special energy, and it's one of those things where we just didn't stop. We didn't stop for, I don't even want to repeat how many hours we did not stop. So nonetheless, it was worth the time. And of course, every time I'm with Jamaal and Edwin, it's always a great discussion, no matter what we talk about. And speaking of which, we got more surprise catch-ups along the way. And I won't spoil it because that's the key word, surprise. But also, we have some regular episodes coming along the way. And of course, with fall anime settling in, we do have to catch up with that. And the end of the year, I mean, we have the best shows just cooking with the great stuff. And we will be naive to ignore that stuff, and we'll have that on the helm. But we like to go at our own pace, and new things are going to happen regardless. And let's just say quicker access to recording is going to be kind of what we're going to push for. It's just the reality things. And we can't wait to tell you guys what we feel about certain shows and even other stuff from pop culture. So nonetheless, we thank you. Please like and subscribe, download and share all of our stuff on social media and listen to all of our platforms. We thank you again, and goodbye.